Wow. Okay. This was the best NXT show of the year. Definitely the best takeover of the year. But this is the best NXT product, period. We're going to start from the beginning. I usually do my review starting with the main event. I'm actually going to start with the first match because I want to talk about every match as the show sort of build it. So for people who didn't know, the Performance Center was transformed into the Capitol Wrestling Center, which included big panels for a virtual audience. There were still areas for people outside, for Shotzi Blackheart and all those all those people who did to bang on the plexiglass. There was some fencing there. I don't know why they had fencing and plexiglass. I know they kind of like the sound of the plexiglass, but there was a lot of that stuff. There was a lot of big video walls. It was very nice. It looked like a completely different building than when from WWE was doing Raw and SmackDown at the Performance Center, where it looked like an empty gym. This looks like a real arena. They were able to do more with the cameras, to move, to get different shots. There was no more stationary camera where the camera didn't move, and then maybe there was another camera on the other side or something like that. They were actually able to make it look and feel like an arena. That helped a lot when it comes to this show. But this show, every match banged. The surprises were good. I enjoyed the shit out of this show. So the Capitol Wrestling, for a lot of people who didn't know, is the old promotion, the prior to WWF. Vince McMahon Sr., Vincent J. McMahon, had the Capitol Wrestling Corporation. And that's where he began to run shows with Toots Mondt out of Baltimore. So from Baltimore to Madison Square Garden was sort of his territory. And of course, Capitol Wrestling kind of faded away. He started the promotion. He bought somebody out. I don't remember who was the owner of the Baltimore territory before Vincent J. McMahon, but he bought the territory. And then he, with his television, he was able to get all the way up to Madison Square Garden, which is where Toots Mondt was the promoter. And when his shows got up there and started getting popular, Toots Mondt started to help him. They built and built and built, and then the WWF was formed until, the WWF was formed, yada, yada, yada. So that's the point of the Capitol Wrestling concept. And it's really cool. The Triple H is really digging into the history of WWE and WCW. So it's kind of like he's trying to make NXT a holistic kind of thing, because I might as well talk about it here. They're bringing back Halloween Havoc on October the 28th. A lot of people have been begging for Halloween Havoc, which is not personally not my favorite event. Eric Bischoff has said routinely that he thinks that Halloween Havoc was WCW's WrestleMania. He didn't think it was Starrcade. He thinks it was Halloween Havoc. So they're bringing back Halloween Havoc, and a lot of people are excited for it. I personally just think it's okay. So it's going to be a regular episode of NXT on October the 28th. I think that's cool if they're going to do it as a yearly thing. I think that's fun. So I think that Triple H sort of having his hand in both pots, or in all pots really, because he's doing a lot of NWA-based stuff, because Great American Bash is an NWA pay-per-view. Before it was WCW, it was NWA. He's doing Capitol Wrestling, which is old, way back WWF, pre-WWF stuff. And he's still doing WCW stuff, because Halloween Havoc was created by WCW, I believe. Or was it an NWA event? I don't remember the history of Halloween Havoc. But I know Halloween Havoc has been a pretty big event, and they usually do the elaborate gravestones and all that type of stuff WCW used to do. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing. And it's going to be fun, So I like that. I think that was perfect. It's a nice little cherry on top of Triple H mixing in all of the history kind of modernizing it, which I love. I love that. So the first match on the card was Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano, which was really, really good. Damian Priest is really good. Johnny Gargano is a great performer. I don't like him as a person. Not that I know him personally, but just the image that he kind of puts out online about him being an absolute corny individual. But he's a great ring general. Now, you can pretty much tell that he was leading Damian Priest through this match. You can pretty much tell. But it was fantastic. he broke out a Tequila Sunrise. Johnny Gargano did, which is Conan's old finisher, which I think is pretty cool. He reversed the Razor's Edge into a Sunset Flip, which I thought was pretty cool. They did some more. There was a lot of pretty good strikes in there. Damian Priest is really good at striking. The big spot of the match was near the end, where Gargano kind of powdered a little bit, and then Priest did a high flying, I think it was like a helo over the top rope. Johnny Gargano magically pulled two people in from ringside to catch Damian Priest, even though I think they were sitting down. He pulled one guy, and the other guy just kind of jumped up, and then they took the hits for Gargano. The referee came out to say, "Hey, these guys need help. Somebody needs to help these guys." And then while his back was turned, Johnny Gargano kicked Damian Priest in the balls. Of course, it didn't really end up going anywhere, but it was a great little situation. It led to Gargano using two different submission holds. He used the Gargano Escape, which is essentially a crossface, and then he used the an STF, which was I believe they also called this the Gargano Escape. Vic Joseph did, but it was really a STF because he had the leg locked. Gargano had been working the legs the whole match, which makes sense because Gargano is short, Priest is tall. You know, if you wrestling somebody bigger, you work the legs. I mean, it's common sense. Then there was a short little callback where they put the ringside steps outside flat on the ground. And then they made it look like Johnny Gargano was going to try to knock Damian Priest onto the ring steps, similar to the Balor match, where Balor was able to knock Priest onto those steps and won. But it didn't work. So then the finish came when one final beat, which is the slingshot DDT that Johnny Gargano uses, is reversed by Damian Priest into a dangling reckoning, which is, his feet was on the ropes, and then he hit the reckoning, which is like a spinning, it's like the Crossroads. And then he pinned him right then and there. And that was a great match. It was badass, man. Hey, Damian Priest is a star. Johnny Gargano is a hell of a mechanic. He needs to do something about his personality, but he's a hell of a mechanic. Dude is really good. When he's not thigh slapping all over the place. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of thigh slapping in this match because both Priest and Gargano are thigh slappers. But it was really still a very good match. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. Second match was really intense. Kushida versus the Velveteen Dream. This reminds me a lot of Velveteen Dream recently. Since I say since the parking lot brawl, which sucked. That match sucked. But since then, Velveteen Dream has kind of been like the old Dave Chappelle joke. See, Dave Chappelle made a joke once about Kobe Bryant, where he was like, Kobe trying to beat that rape case on the court. And that's kind of how Velveteen Dream is. Like he's been really good. Like he's trying to get people to forget that he's involved with this whole thing with underage boys. But Velveteen Dream was amazing when it comes to his selling in this match. Kushida was amazing as well when it comes to being aggressive, showing a completely different side of himself. You got two guys who, Kushida didn't even have an entrance. He just attacked Velveteen Dream during Velveteen Dream's entrance. And this whole new side of Kushida, which focused on Velveteen Dream's arms. He had injured the arm weeks before, after, he appeared out of nowhere to beat up the Velveteen Dream when people was calling, I think I called Kushida the pedo killer. But it was a great video package too, by the way. I kind of forgot that. Of telling the story of Kushida, how he's, his struggles in coming to America. He was lauded as being this big signing. And then, he didn't really have that much success. Then he got hurt. And, and then kind of Velveteen Dream beating him up after that match was kind of like the last straw. That now he feels like he has to step it up and do more. So I think that was pretty badass. But this match was excellent. Velveteen Dream's hair was gray, which I don't understand that. But Velveteen Dream, they was doing some grappling, which is to Kushida's strength. And I swore, I don't know, I heard it, and I'm pretty sure my brother heard it too. But when Kushida kind of started getting Velveteen Dream, getting the handle on him, because, Velveteen Dream's not a grappler, I heard Velveteen Dream crying for help. He's like, help! And I was like, oh my God. That was great. But so it was really cool. Like, Kushida was targeting the arms and the shoulders. You know, it was great. Then the big spot, well, one big spot is that Velveteen Dream's arm was sort of dangling in between the metal stairs. He was yelling that he was sorry to Kushida. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Kushida kicked the goddamn steps into his arm, which was a great moment. Then Velveteen Dream kind of gets the upper hand. He kind of hits the Dream Valley Driver, then the Purple Rainmaker elbow drop. Then he goes for a second one. A little bit later, he goes for a second one. Kushida hops up there, puts him in the hoverboard lock. And you would think that would be the finish. That should have been the finish, if we're being honest. But Kushida allowed Velveteen Dream sort of to fight back. Then Velveteen Dream did a Dream Valley Driver. But Kushida still had the armbar on him, and with the hoverboard lock, which is a Kimura, and Velveteen Dream tapped out. So that was a good finish. It kind of killed one of Velveteen Dream's big moves, which is the Dream Valley Driver. But we're going to get into why I think not. There's a couple of reasons why I think Velveteen Dream is on his way out the door. But Triple H said in the media call that Velveteen Dream, his immaturity outside the ring, has been a problem and has been affecting his actual in-ring work. A lot of people thought that to mean that he was, the whole stuff with the kids and all that stuff. I don't know if that's the case, or is it, other things that we don't know about. But they're certainly punishing Velveteen Dream, rightfully so. If he's acting an ass on top of being accused of being stuff, then I get it. I get it. I'm not going to blame him. But after the match was really strange because Kushida continued to attack Velveteen Dream after the match. Velveteen Dream, of course, continued to tap out, but he kept putting him in different submission holds, and Dream was really selling and crying and whining, and it was really emotional stuff. And if Velveteen Dream if he was not the Velveteen Dream, right, and people already was kind of like, fuck him anyway, this would kind of feel like a heel turn for Kushida, because it was a bit excessive. It didn't feel like it fit. Like Velveteen Dream it was being an asshole, sure, but for you to attack the guy to such a degree after the match, it seemed a bit excessive. It seemed to look a little inhonorable. Let's say it seemed to lack honor. But okay, whatever. The third match was one of my favorite matches of the night. Probably my favorite match of the night. Santos Escobar versus Isaiah Swerve Scott for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. And the match told a complete story. The beginning of the match, the storyline, of course, is Santos Escobar says he's been raising the bar for Lucha Libre, and he's infused the Cruiserweight division with Lucha culture, which is based on Lucha Libre anyway. So they start the match with Isaiah Swerve Scott actually keeping up with Santos Escobar, and actually, in some cases, doing better because he's the babyface. He's supposed to be better at this. That being at doing Lucha Libre than Santos Escobar. And they told that story. But there was also a showcase for Isaiah Swerve Scott. And I think that he's going up higher on the card. That's why he didn't win this match. But I think that they did a really good job of showing that he could do Lucha by him having him beat or get the better of Santos Escobar in some cases in their Lucha exchanges. But he also got to show that he can do submissions, because after he showed that he was better at doing high flying stuff, he started doing ground based submission stuff, working his elbow on the ring post, which is very important. This is a very important thing. There's the turnbuckle, and then there's the area that connects the turnbuckle to the ring post. That's metal. I forgot how that part got taken off. It was like a covering of that, and it was taken off, and then Swerve was bending Santos Escobar's elbow over that metal on between the turnbuckle and the ring post. So he was kind of working the shoulder and the arm, and it was great. There was a fantastic explosion of offense from Swerve after he was getting beaten up a little bit, so he started to fire up, and you could hear the punches laid, like being laid in. The shit looked good, it sounded good, and it was great. Like it was like several punches until Santos Escobar kind of powdered into the corner, and then it was followed with a discus clothesline that looked great. It was just good stiff stuff. Joaquin Wild and Raul Mendoza, they came out because they're part of Legado del Fantasma, along with Santos Escobar, even though he kind of sent them away earlier during his entrance. And they came out to cheat, obviously. Then so Santos Escobar, he gets hurricanranaed from the top rope on top of Joaquin Wild and Raul Mendoza. So they get taken down. And then when they're trying to get back up and they're trying to go after Isaiah Swerve Scott, and then Ashanti the Adonis comes down. And I was like, yes, because I remember sprinkling some of my magic on Ashanti Adonis and wanted to see more of him. And he came out to help Isaiah Swerve Scott, which was really cool. He fought off. And it's always good for a babyface to come out and help other babyfaces. That's common sense. That's very basic wrestling. So then you had Ashanti the Adonis fought off both Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild pretty much by himself. And then the match continued between Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott. And Swerve ended up kicking out of the Phantom Driver, which is actually Santos Escobar's finish. So it kind of gave you the idea that Santos Escobar was probably going to lose. And it told a really good story because, again, we're telling about here that Swerve is trying to show Santos that he's better at him than everything. So he kicks out of his finish. He's, countering all his lucha stuff. It's very difficult. Santos Escobar does the Three Amigos, of course, the nod to Eddie Guerrero, but he does the shittiest frog splash I have ever seen. He missed it, but it was pretty shitty. It was pretty shit. And then Escobar gets hit with the house call, which is the house call kick. I think it's a running kick of some kind. It's Swerve's finish that he's beating people with, but he combined that with a 450 splash, and Santos Escobar kicked out. And I was kind of like, this is lunacy. Like they're kicking out of each other's finish. We don't need a lot of kicking out of people's finish, which I didn't really like. So they worked their way out into the ring apron. Santos Escobar was around, got grabbed around the waist, where like he was trying to German suplex him on the ring apron. He backed up and, Swerve slipped, hit his head on the exposed buckle, the exposed area between the turnbuckle and the ring post, which somehow got taken off earlier in the night. I'm not sure if Swerve took it off or if somebody else took it off or who took it off. I don't think I was paying attention that closely. But Swerve hit his head on it, and that leads to the finish as Santos Escobar does a double underhook, which is kind of like a pedigree into his knee, and pinned Isaiah Swerve Scott. So then later on in the night, Ashanti the Adonis, he had a short promo saying that basically he interfered because he was tired of Legado del Fantasma jumping people from behind. And then he cut this promo, and I was like, it wasn't that good. It wasn't bad, but it was not good. And to be quite honest, it felt very much like he was trying to do Velveteen Dream. Not the character of Velveteen Dream, but it kind of felt like he was trying to replace the Velveteen Dream. Like he was next up because Velveteen Dream fucked up. So they kind of have to rotate that black guy out and rotate this one in. And not a fan of that. I've said it before. I do not like when they just replace Negroes like that. I hate when they do that. And it feels like that's what they're doing now. That, Velveteen Dream is something they just cannot make work because he has all these other outside the ring problems. So they're just kind of going to cut bait with him maybe. And it's going to slide Ashanti the Adonis in this spot. Of course, it also could be that Santos Escobar needs new opponents. And Ashanti the Adonis has been on 205 Live for a long time. Both of those things can be true at the same time. That, a character with a similar gimmick, a show-off-ish type of gimmick, it's not Prince. Like Ashanti the Adonis doesn't do Prince like Velveteen Dream, but it's very similar from what I've seen of Ashanti Theodonis. His gimmick is similar to the Velveteen. It's too similar, if we're being honest. And it seemed like his rise came with Velveteen Dream's fall, because Velveteen Dream, the last match he wrestled before he wrestled Kushida, was against Ashanti Theodonis. And that's kind of when Ashanti Theodonis really kind of broke out and was, that's actually when they changed his name and everything too, because he used to be Tahuti Miles. But I guess Tahuti, I was about to call him Tahuti Miles. I guess Ashanti Theodonis is going to be the next contender for Santos Escobar, which is cool because, the cruiserweight division needs more energy. He needs more people. And I'm glad they're actually going to put some steam behind somebody else in this division. And that's really what this show is about. This show is about concluding certain things and beginning new things. So, which is what a pay-per-view should be. And they did a lot of good angles on this show, which we're going to get to later, because a lot of the angles took place later in the night. But I like Ashanti Theodonis. I like him as a performer. I liked his intensity when he wrestled the Velveteen Dream. He looked good. I've seen him wrestle as Tahuti Miles on the 1 or 2 times that I watched 205 Live. So I'm not mad that he's getting the spot. I'm not mad at that. I just don't like that it feels like, well, we got to cut bait with this one Negro, so we're just going to slide in another one in his spot. I'm not feeling that, But then again, I could be wrong, and Velveteen Dream might be fine. Who knows? So the fourth match was Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai, and Io Shirai was the victor. This match was built a lot on the history of Io Shirai and Candice LeRae, and this was a great story. So the story from the video package, which they didn't bother to play during NXT when it was on the air Wednesday, is that they showed that Io Shirai turned heel on Candice LeRae. When Io Shirai was so frustrated because she couldn't win the NXT title, the women's title, she turned heel and beat up Candice LeRae when she lost that cage match. I completely forgot about that. I also completely forgot about Io Shirai still being a heel in April when she won the ladder match to become the number 1 contender, and she gouged Candice LeRae's eyes out. Candice LeRae was a babyface both of those times. When Io Shirai was cutting corners and, spazzing out on her, and Candice LeRae was kind of like, that was my, kind of the origin story of why she turned heel. It's because she was friends with all these people, and all these people kept turning on her. So she was like, screw it, I'm not going to be friends with anybody. This is what the Gargano way is about, is nothing matters except, the Garganos and the gold. So their match was pretty by the numbers. They didn't have a bad match. They didn't have a great one. Candice was really aggressive. There was a slower pace to this match than it was in the previous matches, which actually helped define the match as being different from the other matches. So the big spots, there was a lot of exchanges, but the big spot really came near the end, where Candice hits the ref by accident after Candice has Io Shirai and the Gargano escape, which is again just a crossface, and while she's not really letting go of the hold after the rope break, then the ref gets hit by mistake. The ref does a flop. Then Johnny Gargano runs to the ring in a referee shirt, and he is, just being obnoxious, trying to make 2 counts and, going overboard. And, the referee wakes up and, well, I think the referee was knocked down again because there was another visual 3 count. Yeah, it was an Io Shirai visual 3 count where she did the air raid crash and a moonsault, but there was no ref because the referee had been knocked down. And then Johnny comes out with the referee shirt. The referee was trying to tell him to get out of here because the referee had woke up by this time. He's telling Johnny to beat it. Johnny had brought the title in the ring because he's apparently going to hit Io Shirai with the belt. And then, or he was going to give the belt to Candice. It was one of the two. I don't remember which one it was going to be because it was kind of ridiculous that he was out there in the first place. And then he comes out, he drops he gets tossed by the referee. The belt is still in the ring. Candice LeRae hits Io Shirai with the belt, which would have been a logical finish. And of course, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Io Shirai kicks out. Candice goes to the top rope. And Io recovers, does a Spanish fly off the top rope, which is a C4, the Spanish fly, the flippity-doo. And then she comes with a moonsault afterwards. to get the clean finish. So it was great. It was a great finish anyway. It's kind of extra, but this is NXT Takeover. They kind of do a little bit more than they should on these situations. And then we get the surprises after after Io Shirai defeated Candice LeRae. Toni Storm appears on a video wall, and she essentially says that she's coming back. So Toni Storm is from NXT UK. If you're not familiar with Toni Storm, you need to get familiar, because Toni Storm is really good. But more importantly, Toni Storm is really thick. Really thick. She has a great ass. It's true, man. She has a great ass. She's sexy as hell. But Toni Storm has not wrestled, I don't think, since she lost to Kylie Rae in NXT UK. She lost a loser. Not it wasn't a loser league time. It was an I Quit match. And if she lost, she couldn't challenge Kylie Rae for the women's championship in NXT UK anymore. So she's been gone for a long time. And of course, in the pandemic, she lives in Australia. So of course, it's been a long time since Toni Storm has been in the ring. So we think, okay, cool. Toni Storm is going to be, she's coming in now. That's great. And then the 10-4-20 reveal ends up being Ember Moon, which is, when you do the breakdown of it, it kind of ended up it was either going to be Ember Moon or Bo Dallas. Okay, so it was Ember Moon. And Ember Moon comes out, she's wearing a motorcycle helmet. She got the sides of her head shaved. There's a lot of people with the sides of their head shaved. And I'm not feeling it. I don't like that gimmick. Rhea Ripley has a side of her head shaved. Shanti Theodonis has a side of his head shaved. Now Ember Moon has the side of her head shaved. Stop it. Stop doing it. Kushida has the sides of his head shaved too. Enough. Enough of the sides of the head being shaved. Enough of it. I'm sick of that shit. Okay? No more. We need a moratorium on that. No more sides of the head shaved. Especially into mohawks. Which Ashanti Theodonis has a mohawk. And Rhea Ripley has a mohawk. And I believe, if I remember correctly, I think maybe Ember Moon also has a mohawk. Too many people with mohawks. Okay? Too many. It's not original anymore. It's becoming quite played out. And then I see enough of that shit in comic books. No more of that, okay? Ban it. Moratorium on sides of the head shaved. But the NXT women's division needed new blood. It needed to be revitalized. It needed new energy. Toni Storm is great, okay? She's a good wrestler. She's thick as fuck. Ember Moon, same thing. So you want chocolate, you want vanilla. whatever folks should find your lost remote, baby, they got it. All right, when it comes to that ass, all right, because Ember Moon, and they can't have Ember Moon and Toni Storm at the same time. It's just too much ass. I don't think we can handle it. I'm pretty sure I can't handle it. That's too much ass at one time. Now you may have to alternate weeks, where you have one Ember Moon on 1 week and then Toni Storm on another week. I certainly don't need them in the ring at the same time. That's just way too. I probably wouldn't even get to watch the match. It'd just be too much ass. But the NXT Women's Division needed to be revamped. It needed new blood. It needed new competition for Io Shirai, because she couldn't theoretically lose the belt to anybody that's on the roster other than Rhea Ripley right now. But now she has two other contenders who are both credible, who are both good, who both have reputations. So they're bringing up a new challenger for the Cruiserweight division. We're bringing up a new challenger we're bringing up two new challengers for the women's title. We need tag teams, and we need somebody for Damian Priest to fight, but I'm pretty sure you got the Cameron Grimes and the Bronson Reeds and all that type of stuff for that. So all that's really left is for the NXT title to have its contender brought up. So then this brings us to the main event: Kyle O'Reilly versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, and this match was completely different from every other match on the card. It was a grueling, intense match. There was a lot of grappling. Okay, there was a lot of back and forth, which is playing to Kyle O'Reilly's strength. But the best thing about this match is that Balor was doing heel stuff without fully turning heel. And It was just kind of like he was mocking Kyle O'Reilly. Like he played the air guitar with his arm while he had him in an arm bar once. But Kyle O'Reilly was also working on the arms. He was chopping Finn Balor down. Like he worked on the arms and shoulders. He worked on the knee. He was, he got the the advantage of the striking exchanges, and it was really good. And then the great story element that took place in this match was completely out of nowhere. It was a spinning back kick, which we've seen in 100 matches. I'm pretty sure Johnny Gargano probably threw 6 of them himself in the Damian Priest match. I just didn't pay attention because he always throws spinning back kicks and smacks his thigh. But in this match, Finn Balor threw a spinning back kick that nailed Kyle O'Reilly in the stomach, in the midsection. They started building the story from that point where Kyle was, boom, he took the hit, and then there was a delayed reaction where he tried to go forward, and he's like, oh, and just kind of sunk, like, like a boxer, like an MMA fighter, like, which is what Kyle O'Reilly, that's kind of his background, is mixed martial arts. And he collapsed, and they started telling this story that maybe now Kyle has internal injuries, and now Finn Balor has an opening. And this is where I say, like, he was being very heelish. He's being very vicious. He was doing a lot of stomps, a lot of kicking them in the stomach, a lot of different submission holds in the abdomen area. It was really great shit. And Kyle O'Reilly was fighting from underneath. He got this internal problem. Like, he got the blood in his mouth. So he got this internal injury, but he's fighting back. He's fighting, fighting from underneath. He's not going to give up because this is his only chance. He's not going to fight back. So another cool spot. Kyle O'Reilly does a knee drop, which is a knee on knee. You do a knee breaker. Let's put it like that. And then he went from that into the heel hook or knee bar, whatever you want to call it. And it looked pretty cool. He had been working on the knees already. And Finn Balor reversed it into a sharpshooter. A sharpshooter doesn't just work the legs, it also works the midsection because you are, bending somebody's back. So it was a great visual spot for Balor. Then, there was the referee was kind of checking on Kyle O'Reilly because you think you about to get a referee stoppage because, Kyle O'Reilly can, he can barely fight back at this point. There were spurts of offense from him, but mostly he was just, selling the midsection, selling the injury. And then he catches Finn Balor in the ropes, gives him 2 dragon screw leg whips, flying knee from the top rope onto Finn Balor's knee. Then he goes for the heel hook, immediately right into the submission because that's his game. Balor gets a rope break, which was pretty cool. Balor kind of faked a collapse because he had been working his knee. Then he sort of tried to take a step, boom, went down on one knee and was gripping his knee. And Kyle O'Reilly looked like like he was going to jump in and do what Balor was doing, and that's attacking viciously. But he kind of pulled back a little bit. He showed some mercy, and that gave Balor the opportunity to hit him with a double foot stomp, and then that was kind of it. Like he double foot stomped him, and then he did it again, and then he went to he did a full coup de grace, flying foot stomp from the top rope, and that was it. He pinned him. So it was great psychology. It was intense. It was methodical. It was slow. It was full of story. They told a great story about Kyle O'Reilly, this being his one chance, and he was going to fight through this, even if he had a busted lung or whatever the hell. And Finn Balor was, being vicious. This is the new Finn Balor, sort of like the new Kushida, where they just very violent and borderline heelish. But of course, Finn Balor at the end of the match, Finn Balor offered Kyle O'Reilly his hand. They both shook hands. And then Ridge Holland appears off camera with Adam Cole draped over his shoulder. And then he tosses Adam Cole at ringside, right near the ring. And everybody's just looking like, what? What? What the hell's going on? And, so Kyle O'Reilly jumps out in the ring to help Adam Cole because apparently he got beat up by Ridge Holland, who I'm guessing is now either the new enemy of the Undisputed Era or the new contender for the NXT title. Either way, you got a new guy in this position. So you got fresh blood all throughout the card. All throughout the card, you have new faces popping up, new challengers, new contenders for these titles. Ridge Holland, they're skipping the North American title for him, going straight to the NXT title, or at least straight into a feud with Adam Cole in the Undisputed Era, which is really good. It's a good position for him. He's a good prospect. He's non-problematic as far as I know. He's a big dude who, has the rugby background. So it's great. This is a great event. From top to bottom, it was awesome. We had every match felt different. They told different stories. Yes, there was a lot of sides of the head shaved, and there was a lot of working the shoulder in one match and in the other, working the leg in one match and in another. But that it made it seem like it naturally fit that story, and it wasn't something that they were just doing kind of artificially. But there was not a lot of high-flying stupidity, even though there was some, but there wasn't a lot of high-flying dumbness, and there was not a lot of no selling. So every match felt intense and real and good. And it was the best NXT show of the year. Probably the best NXT show in a long time. Probably in about a year and a half. I can't think of the last NXT show that I enjoyed more than this, from top to bottom. So, hey, this was great. So if you missed it, go watch it. If you want to just give you a couple of matches, watch Santos Escobar versus Isaiah Swerve Scott, and watch Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest, and watch Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor. Those matches were fantastic. But thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you guys thought of the Capitol Wrestling Center and of this show in the comment section below. Like this video, share the video, subscribe to my channel if you're not a subscriber. And if you are a subscriber, thank you for subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys later.